Hey guys, wanted to bring you another YouTube video. Recently, the last video we talked about this Honda Civic that we had, 2003. Kind of was time to sell it, so we decided to take it to Carmax, and we actually originally put it on Craigslist, but then decided to see if we could take it to Carmax and get a just as good or about the same of a deal on selling it there because we weren't too sure on how to sell it privately. It's because I've never done it before. So, especially I did some research and stuff like that. Had some questions, but didn't know who to ask because I didn't know too many people that actually sold a car before. Tried YouTubing it, researching it that way, but didn't want to do it wrong. Um, so that's where we went to Carmax and figure if there's a price that was similar or close to it, then we would sell it. Especially after researching with Kelly Blue Book. So the 2003 Honda Civic, according to Kelly Blue Book, if you took it to a dealership, was supposed to range about $300 to up to $800. But average, based on the zip code here, was supposed to be $577. So I pretty much thought, okay, maybe we're going to get $500 or less. Now, I did put the ad on Craigslist and asked for 1500. Now, the average, according to Kelly Blue Book, you could get was about 1300 to 2200 selling it privately. Now, I didn't think it's worth 2200 selling it privately based on the condition and how much work that need to eventually be put in if you're going to try to keep it for yourself. So I figured, let's see what type of offer. It was last Saturday that we took it in actually. Had to set an appointment, fill out the information online. Once they had all your information, you just put in the time that you could go in. I made the appointment the same day, so I figured, all right, let's go in. It's not too far from our house, and so went over there. It was pretty busy. A lot of people were buying or selling cars, but definitely I felt like there was a lot of people selling their cars and wanted to see what they could get. The process was pretty smooth and easy. I thought it was definitely worth giving it a shot if you're thinking about selling it or have thoughts about it. But if you're comfortable selling it yourself, definitely go for it. If you could get a higher price, like I said, um, I wasn't going to accept $500 or less, to be honest, because I had already people that wanted to give 1500. So I figured, all right, to make it things easy, because the title was actually under my wife, so obviously she would have to sign off and do all that, but she wasn't too comfortable selling it herself. But like I said, I was willing to research and do it, and we agreed if if it was even close to 1,000, so even 800 to 1,000, we would have probably sold it to them to make it easier and faster. So in the end, we actually got the offer for 1,500, which we were surprised. Pretty much the full story. I'll link it to the blog that we wrote about, but definitely we were there a lot longer than expected. So we were almost there for 4 hours in total, even with the appointment. So I would definitely recommend going on a weekday because it's probably less busier than a weekend when people are off and stuff like that. So if you have a chance and if you're thinking about it, go on weekday to Carmax. Definitely, I think that unicorn van commercial paid off because that's one of the most outlandish commercial I've seen, but it still stands out for me because I remember, well, if they're willing to buy that type of van with a unicorn on there, maybe they would buy the Honda Civic. Um, so for me, I think they're probably going to use it to take out the parts because I think the parts could be worth more than selling the car for some reason. But hey, I could be wrong because they might have their own mechanics and easy to fix and stuff like that. Someone will probably buy it for a quick flip or something. But again, I would be surprised. Or maybe they'll be able to get interest on there. So I'm not really sure how they're going to deal with it, but all I know was that once we received the check, I just figure let's get out of here as soon as possible and just deposit the check because and that's the other thing. I thought it was more like, well, you get 1,500 and you could use it towards a trade in of for a new car or another car on our lot. So, and I want to make sure it wasn't like a stipulation or anything like that. The only stipulation they did have to test drive it to make sure it runs, which it passed and did all that. So, and the other question we had when we were going to sell it was that because we left the title in another state because we didn't know if we have to transfer it to a new state that we moved. So I guess you don't really need to. When we were selling it, they said no, it's fine. As long as it shows that the VIN number and everything matches, it doesn't matter because it had her name on there with the ID matches. So that was one thing we weren't sure about. And then the other thing was the plates. So definitely, if you do sell, you have to take your plates off. And then they're going to put on their own plates or whatever and take care of the registration. But and then we canceled. We didn't have to go to DMV. It was pretty easy. You could cancel online for us, so it was pretty easy to surrender the plates. So glad we didn't have to go to the DMV with the long lines out here, especially in the wait. So definitely, I would say 9 out of 10. Only thing, like I said, I just was surprised how long it took, but in the end, I wasn't because really surprised when you take a step back and think about it. It was a Saturday. It's probably one of the easiest process, and then you also have probably they offer competitive buyback rates compared to other dealerships. So I can see why people would turn to them first before maybe selling to a dealership or to a private seller. So or private buyer. So yeah, in the end, I was very surprised, but thankful that they were able to purchase it. So for the time being, we're going to go down to one car and then save money that way. So that way, we'll probably get an EV car. That's what we're thinking. So especially if this current administration passes that Green Act, and it's more in the blog. We wrote a couple blogs about it on different topics about it, but if they give like a cash for clunkers, or, well, can't really do cash for clunkers, but an EV credit like for Tesla again, then that's something we'll definitely have to consider, or any competitive EV cars out there. So go ahead and hit that like button, especially if you've had experience with Carmax, or um, let me know if you've actually had any good or bad experience there. Want to know your thoughts out there. Um, but I would definitely highly recommend them. Again, definitely appreciate how easy it was. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and together we could build better tomorrow. Thanks.